This is Sarah with Posh Pooch Designs, and today's video I'm going to show you how to make this fun little textured bandana. It has a nice wide band on it for your dog to keep them warm. And I have used a big button to close it, but you can also sew it closed, and I'll show you that when we get to that part. Either way, you can slip it right on your dog's head. It has a nice wide band, like I said, to keep their neck warm, and just a fun textured bandana portion on it. Now this is a red heart stripes, I think, that I had on hand that I thought had kind of a autumn type colors to it, but it's a worsted weight number 4, and we're going to be using this one today. And this is a red heart autumn that I have on hand. You can use any worsted weight number 4. Only takes about an ounce, maybe an ounce and a half, not very much at all, to make the bandana. And this is a free pattern on my blog, and I'll have that blog link in the notes for you underneath the video. And what you're going to need, of course, is the yarn. You're going to need some fun buttons, and I just pulled out some fun buttons I had on hand here. Here's some pumpkin, orange and brownish colors because we're doing fall. But you can do this, of course, in any colors that you want, and you really only need one button if you're going to use a button attached back here. But if you're going to sew it together, you don't even need a button. And of course, I just used a pumpkin on the front for decoration. The other thing you're going to need is a nice needle with a nice big eye, and you're going to need your scissors. Now for our crocheting today, we're going to be using an H hook, and this is my favorite purple H hook. One thing to remember is if you crochet tight when we begin, you might want to go up to an I hook, because if you crochet tightly, you'll have tight chains at the beginning. But the whole rest of it will be using an H hook. So, gather your supplies, get some fun buttons, and let's get started. To start our bandana, we begin with the chain, and this chain is the neck band. Now, the pattern has 2 sizes on it. It has the extra small and the small. Now the extra small fits about an 8-inch neck, and the small fits about a 12-inch neck. In order to add or subtract chains to make the pattern fit your dog's neck, if your dog is smaller or larger, you add 3 chains per inch. So if your dog's neck is, say, 5 inches around, you're going to put 3 times 5, and you're going to chain 15 plus 1. But you can go off the pattern that I already have set up for you, and you can chain 33 for the extra small or 49 for the small. And today we're going to just be doing the extra small for our demonstration, and I've already got those chains done. And remember, like I said, if you're a tight crocheter, you might want to do your beginning chain in an I hook instead of an H, because you don't want your beginning chain to be puckered. Alright, so for row 1, we're going to place 1 double crochet in the second chain from the hook. There's 1, there's 2, so we're going to put that double crochet in there. Oops, there we go. And just in case you're not sure what a double crochet is, you yarn over, go through the stitch or chain you're working on, and pull up a loop. You've got 3 loops, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2. And we're going to place 1 double crochet in each stitch across, or I should say each chain across, because we're working in the chain. So place 1 double crochet in each chain across, and this is for any size you're making, whether you added or subtracted chains. 1 double crochet in each double crochet across. One double crochet in each chain across. When you get to the end of your row, you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and this chain 3 counts as your first double crochet on your next row. And what we're going to do is we're going to place 1 double crochet in each double crochet across, And we'll do this for this row and then one more row, so that we'll have a total of 3 rows of double crochet. And the reason why I wanted to do 3 rows of double crochet is it makes a nice thick band to put on your dog's neck. And if you're making it bigger, you can add more rows. You can have as many rows here as you want, because we want this bandana to be a nice warm bandana. And it slips, you can slip it right on their head. You don't have to remove their collar or anything. It's a cool crisp morning or evening and you're going for a little walk, just slip this bandana over their neck. And something good to know about bandanas is bandanas can also keep fleas and ticks from getting around your dog's neck. They're kind of protection too. So they're protection from the cold and from fleas and ticks. So we're going to place 1 double crochet in each double crochet across for this row. Then we're going to chain 3 and do another row of double crochets for a total of 3 rows of double crochets. We stitched 3 rows of double crochet for a nice wide band. Now remember, if you're doing this for a bigger dog and you want a thicker band, you can add 1 or 2 or however many more bands rows that you want to for your band to make a nice thick bandana for their neck. But for the pattern, we're only doing the 3 rows. And at the end of the 3rd row, instead of chaining 3, we're only going to chain 1. And then we're going to turn. And that's because we're going to be stitching some slip stitches in the center, in the outside, and then begin working our bandana. So because this one is the extra small, we're only going to be stitching 8 slip stitches. And a slip stitch, just in case you're not sure, you go in the stitch, pull a loop up, and then pull that loop through the stitch that's on your hook. Basically, you're pulling a loop and slipping it through. That's why we call it a slip stitch. So there's 3. And remember not to do these too tight or you'll get puckering. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 slip stitches. And now we're going to begin working the middle as our bandana portion, and then we'll leave the last 8 stitches unworked. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to place 1 double crochet in the next 16 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 'So we slip stitched in our first 8 stitches, and then we did 16, we chained 3, and then did 15 double crochets, not half double crochets, double crochets. And then we left the last 8 double crochets unworked. And then we're going to chain 1 and turn my hook back in there. And then for row 5, we're going to stitch the first 2 together, and we're going to be stitching half double crochets. So we'll be stitching the first 2 half double crochets together. And the way we do that is we yarn over, go in the first stitch and pull up a loop, then go in the next stitch and pull up a loop. We yarn over, see there's 4 loops plus our yarn over. We go through all 4 of those loops, and that makes those 2 double crochets into 1 half double crochet. And then we're going to half double crochet all the way across until we reach the last 2 double crochets. Place 1 half double crochet in each double crochet across until we reach the last 2 double crochets from row 4. Alrighty, almost there. Alright, So now we're going to stitch these last 2 half double crochets together. Double crochets. It's actually a double crochet and the chain 3 that counted as a double crochet. So we're going to wrap our yarn over, go in that stitch, pull up a loop, then go in the top of that chain 3, and pull up that loop. We got those 4 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through all 4 of those loops and chain 1. And this is just the beginning of watching our bandana form into a V. Alright, now for row 6 we're going to be starting our texture row. And so what we're going to do is we're going to half double crochet the first 2 together again. So we're going to yarn over, go in that loop, yarn over, go in the next one, 4 loops, yarn over, go through all 3. The next stitch we're going to stitch is our texture stitch or our bump stitch. And we do that by stitching a triple. So we're going to wrap our yarn around 2 times. We're going to go in that stitch and pull up a loop. You'll have those 4 loops on your hook. You'll yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, go through the second 2, yarn over, and go through the third 2. And it's a really long stitch, as you can see, and that's what makes it so fun, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stitch a half double crochet in the next stitch. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to go in that next stitch and stitch a half double crochet. And what we did is we pulled that down, and that makes that triple stitch stick out. And so we're going to do this across until we reach those last 2 half double crochets. So the next stitch is a triple. And then the next stitch is a half double. Then we stitch a triple. And then we stitch a half double. And by stitching a half double, a triple, a half double, a triple, you can see how those stitches are sticking up to form little bumps. Now, I don't think the bump stitch is the official name for that. I just call it that because I think it looks cute, looks like cute little bumps. All right, half double crochet. Then we're going to stitch a triple. There we go. Then we're going to do a half double crochet. And then we're going to stitch these last 2 half double crochets together. So, loop over your hook, yarn over I mean. Then you're going to go in, pull up a loop, go in that stitch and pull up a loop, yarn over and go through all of those, chain 1 and turn. Now you can see, pull that down a little so you can get a good look at that, where we have double crocheted, triple, half double crochet, triple, and formed those bumps. And now what you'll do is you'll continue to decrease down, working double crochet, triple, until you get down to only 2 stitches, and then you'll work those 2 stitches together. So continue this pattern, 2 half double crochets together on the beginning and the end, and then half double crochet, triple, working down. Now you'll have a different amount of rows depending on if you added chains to make it bigger, or like this one is the extra small and you did the small size. So the amount of rows will be different. As you can see from this one, the amount of rows are more because it's a much bigger bandana. So we continued our rows moving downward, 2 half double crochets on each end and doing our bump stitch, triple, half double, until we only had 2 stitches left, and then we just worked those together into 1 stitch with the half double crochet technique, and then I weaved in the ends, and then I also tidied up these ends and got our ends all worked in. And this is where you can decide. You can either add a button, and I never put a buttonhole because the hole in the double crochet is big enough to slip a button through, and I'm really particular about buttons on dog items. It needs to be a button that's big enough that the dog's not going to get it caught in its throat if it tries to swallow it. And that's why I chose these great big buttons on this one here and a great big pumpkin button. But you can add a pumpkin button and you can add a button here. But if you want to make it so it just slips on, which is what I'm going to do with this one because I really prefer that, I'm going to put those two ends together. And I'm just going to stitch them. I'm going to pull that up that way so I can sew that under while I'm sewing. And I'm just going to make some slip stitches across the bottom like this. I really prefer my bandanas to just slip right over their head so that when we're going out on our walk or going out to PetSmart, I love to dress my dogs up and go to PetSmart and Lowe's and Murdoch's and different places around town. They always get lots of attention. Take them to the park for our walks. Okay, so we've stitched it up. I'm going to weave this end in like that. Give it a snip. And there's our bandana. And this is where we seamed it in the bag. Now, if you want to add a button, this one I added over on the side. This one I'm going to put right smack in the middle. And like I said, the key to picking out a good button for a dog item is that it needs to be big enough where your dog is not going to try to swallow it. And if they do, it needs to be big enough where it's not going to get caught in their throat. And a good rule of thumb when working with especially small dogs is if you wouldn't give it to a baby to play with and chew on, don't give it to a dog. Because, you know, babies put everything in their mouth. Just like dogs do, they want everything in their mouth. So there's our pumpkin button. I put it on kind of at an angle because I kind of wanted it angled. And that's our autumn textured bandana.